Hey guys, and welcome to my new movie review for, in my personal opinion, one of the most iconic movies in the history of film. Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. This movie is the fifth installment in the Star Wars saga. The movies prior to this are Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. This movie came out in 1980. It's rated PG and the duration is 2 hours and 4 minutes long. It is an action, adventure, fantasy, sci-fi movie. Interestingly enough, this movie is not directed by George Lucas. This movie is actually directed by Irvin Kershner. The Empire Strikes Back is written by Lee Brackett, Lawrence Kasdan, and of course the brilliant George Lucas. Reprising their roles are Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, Harrison Ford again as Han Solo, Carrie Fisher again as Princess Leia, Billy D. Williams as Lando Calrissian. Also reprising his role is Anthony Daniels as C-3PO, Peter Mayhew as Chewbacca, Kenny Baker as R2-D2, Frank Oz back as Yoda, and voicing but not embodying James Earl Jones as Darth Vader. Man alive. Wow. I want to know in the comment section below before I get any further. I'd really value and I'd really love to know your feedback on this one, guys. Seriously. I genuinely am asking you this. I honestly believe in the history of cinema, what is your opinion on the greatest movie, the most iconic movie ever made in the history of film? Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. There are so many lines, there is so much character, there is so much story, there is so much impeccably laid out cinematic brilliance in this film. There is so many one-liners in this film that are on t-shirts, posters, memes, you name it, all over the world. I kept thinking to myself over and over again watching this film, guys, what is the most iconic film besides Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back? And I genuinely, the only other movie that I could come up with, the only other movie that I could think about that was more iconic, or if as iconic as this one, in the history of cinema film, would be, in my opinion, The Dark Knight by Christopher Nolan. That's honestly, guys, that is the only movie that I can genuinely 100% say authentically is as iconic as this, because I cannot think of a film that is bigger than this, that is more iconic than Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. There are so many big names in this movie. This movie is a mammoth masterpiece of absolute epic scale proportion. Seriously. I want to talk about two things specifically before I go into the depth of my review here, guys. One is something that I spoke about in my earlier review. If you haven't seen my earlier reviews on the Star Wars saga, I've done all of them. So if you want to go and check those out, they're all on my channel. One of them is Yoda. The guy who voices Yoda is the incredible, brilliant Frank Oz. But in this film specifically, not so much A New Hope, surprisingly, but specifically in the Empire Strikes Back, I want to talk about Yoda. Re-listening to him in this film really, really, really made me hear more than any other film. I thought it was more prominent in the first trilogy, but now rewatching The Empire Strikes Back, I hear it even more. And the voice that I'm talking about, the character that I'm talking about, yeah, you know exactly who I'm about to say. Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy. Am I wrong? Seriously, guys, think about it. Yoda in this film sounds so much, especially the way he kind of laughs. That is, and when I get to my trivia at the end of the movie review, guys, I'm going to tell you something that you'll be like, wow, that's interesting about Frank Oz and his humatic chemistry that him and Mark Hamill had while filming, especially the... no, I won't say it. You'll see it. If you haven't already seen The Empire Strikes Back, you'll know what I'm talking about. But he got a certain... Yeah, I'll tell you later. Wait until the trivia and you'll find out then. But I really, really, really just re-listening to this movie, like just re-watching it, specifically Yoda, I could hear more than anything in this film. Miss Piggy, like just so crystal clear, specifically the laugh, specifically, like, well, you know, I can't do it, but you know what I'm talking about. I was really genuinely, guys, I was like, wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Because obviously he's the same voice. He does this two voices, but they're just so ridiculously similar. I want to talk about another character, Han Solo. And this isn't really a controversial thing. Just rewatching it, it made me go, wait, how did that happen? Now, those of you who have seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm going to talk about. And those of you who haven't seen the movie, when you see it, after watching my movie review, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm talking about I don't want to give any spoilers away, guys. I don't do spoilers on my movie review. But at one part of a sequence, he has his hands, what it seemed to be, they're tied. And then he comes out of something, and then they're no longer tied, but they're actually by his side, and he's got this facial expression. And I was like, huh? Wait, how did you just untie your hands? Wait, that makes no... Wait, what? What did I just miss something? Did they just untie your hands as you went through that? Just saying, guys. Just saying. I don't know. I want to know what you guys think, because I couldn't believe how ridiculously well thought out this part of the movie was. And that's the ice scenes. Specifically, I mean, it's pretty rank actually. When the monster comes up and scares Luke Skywalker, but two, when Han Solo has to put Luke Skywalker in the monster. When those of you who have seen what I'm talking about, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. He puts him inside it, and he's like, I thought you guys smelled bad on the outside. When you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. That, like, I was just rethinking about that. I really kept thinking to myself, that is such a kind thing. It's such a kind thing to do to someone. Like, I know that's gross, but it's actually really, really lovely of Han Solo to even do that to his friend. I mean, do you know what I mean? Speaking of Han Solo, I actually want to talk to you about his chemistry with Princess Leia. Man alive. Talk about character chemistry in a film, guys. What? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That was the most incredibly brilliant character chemistry ever. Like, for real ever. Oh my gosh. Something that you might not know this, a bit of early trivia. I know, I'm giving a bit of early trivia away. You're welcome. but I thought this was incredible, is Carrie Fisher has actually stated prior, unfortunately, to her passing away, which is really, really sad. But prior to that, she actually released a book. And in this book, she actually talks about her being on set and getting with a certain actor. Who do you reckon it was? I'm going to tell you in a second, but who do you think it was? Do you reckon it was Mark Hamill? Or do you reckon it was Harrison Ford? I'll give you 3 seconds. Boom, 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 boom. Those of you who said Harrison Ford, you're correct. Ding, 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 ding. What do we have for them, Johnny? Well, today's prizes are nothing at all. But, sorry to let you down. But seriously, she actually stated that she actually had an affair while on set with Harrison Ford. Good on him. Good on him. That's beautiful. That's lovely. Two beautiful people. I thought that's beautiful. Wow, though. Seriously, wow. And like rewatching The Empire Strikes Back, their chemistry is just so authentic. It's just so real. Like, it is just so incredibly real. It's believable. It's not even something that you think about and look back on and going, no, really. It's real. It's there. It's authentic. It's beautiful. And it's just playing hard to get, playing back and forth, but it worked so well. Oh my gosh. It's so beautifully executed. And I tell you now, guys, okay, speaking of love and beautifulness and wonderfulness, I'm just going to throw it out there. Are you ready for it? Pretty sure kissing your sister is classified as incest. Pretty sure. Those of you who have seen The Empire Strikes Back know exactly what I'm talking about. And those of you who haven't seen Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, when you see the scene, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I know. People are like, they didn't know. They don't find out yet. I know. Still, we know. Anyway, I know. It's still pretty funny. Still crack me up. I want to ask you a quick question. I'm really, really genuinely, authentically interested to know what you'll think about this. I really want to know your feedback on this, guys. What did you think of Darth Vader's helmet from A New Hope to The Empire Strikes Back? Because I saw a drastic difference in his helmet, specifically the coloring of it, and it was really, really, really obvious. In A New Hope, and those of you who haven't seen my movie review for A New Hope, check it out on my channel. But those of you who have, you'll know what I'm talking about. Darth Vader's helmet was so much shinier in this movie. Yeah, they really gave it a good buffing in this movie. And I thought it was really, really, really interesting to see that, how much different it was in this movie. It was just like, wow, that's a significant difference. Not bad, not anything negative, just a significant difference. Anyway, guys, one of the most incredibly, I'm going to talk about iconic now. This movie is so iconic. One of my favorite lines in the history of film, and I'm going to talk about lines for a second now, in the history of film is Yoda's line, "Do or do not. There is no try." Guys, that line in this film has literally got me through so much stuff in life. If you genuinely, authentically, really sit down and think about that line, really, really think about it. Do or do not. There is no try. Don't try. When people say, and I say this all the time now, it is my go-to line. Thanks, Yoda. Thanks, Frank Oz. Thank you. Seriously though, think about when someone says to you, oh, I'll try and do it later. Do or do not. There is no try. You don't try and do something. You either do it or you don't do it. It is what it is. And I honestly have taken that as a young man, as a young teenager, after seeing that, hearing that from Yoda, Frank Oz, taking that through my life. And it's just the practicalities of life purely from a green creature. You know what I mean? It really, really, really makes such an incredibly powerful impact on a person's life. And speaking of lines, you know what I'm going to say. Those of you who have seen Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Episode 5, you know exactly what I'm going to talk about next. Yeah, that's right. Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. The most iconic line in the history of cinema. Now, I want to talk to you about something really interesting, because it was actually many years ago, it was actually thought that the line actually said, Luke, I am your father. But it's not. He doesn't actually say Luke. He says, you know it to be true. Search your feelings. He says, no, I am your father. That line there is literally, it's just so incredibly, mind-blowingly iconic. The more and more that I thought about this line, the more I sat down and really thought about that line. I just kept thinking to myself, there's almost no one out there. I even have a t-shirt that says, Steve, I'm your father, with Darth Vader on it. But I kept thinking to myself over and over while hearing that line, it is just, that line really made me think, I honestly, genuinely, 100% guys believe that Star Wars Episode 5 is genuinely, authentically, the most iconic film in the history of cinema. Leave your comments in the comment section below. I genuinely want to know, do you believe that? Do you honestly believe that? And speaking of amazing, iconic moments in cinema, what did you think about when he's in the sort of the dream sequence and he's about to face himself? What did you think about the face that you see when Darth Vader's helmet explodes? I'm really interested to know in the comment section below. Did you think that it was going to be the face that you thought it was going to be? The face that you saw? Seriously? Because I remember seeing that when I was a kid and thinking, wait, why is that him? Is that supposed to be him? Wow, that's incredible. Because Yoda was right the entire time of the entire film. Like, something about this film that really resonated with me, and I believe it is the core element, the essential element of the Star Wars franchise saga, that is specifically coming from this film, because it was so strong in this film, was the Force. Was seeing Luke interact using the Force. Obi-Wan's influence on Luke Skywalker using the Force. Yoda's energy, his power to be able to manipulate the elements using the Force. This movie will forever, and you know what I'm about to say. Those of you who've been following me for any period of time, you know exactly what I'm about to say. It is the word. It's the word that sums up movies like this. You ready for it? Say it with me. 3, 2, 1. Rewatchability. That's right. This movie is so iconic that there has been people that watch this movie that since it's been out, since 1980, over and over and over and over and over, like multiple viewings so many times over and over that it's so iconically quotable. There's so rare films in the history of film that are as iconic as this movie quotably. You know? I mean, if you think about rewatchability in film, you think about movies like this. Shawshank Redemption, this is my opinion. Let's start off with the most, in my opinion. Genuinely, guys, I honestly, authentically believe this now rewatching Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, plus The Green Mile, rewatchability. Shawshank Redemption, rewatchability. In my opinion, Speed, rewatchability. So many films, but this film's DNA is in the core element of all core elements to do with film. It is what it is, rewatchability. Oh my gosh. Wow. Guys, for those of you who have been following me for any period of time ever, you know what I love to give my viewers, my subscribers, my audience. I love sharing movie trivia because it is so much fun. And movie trivia is just so vitally interesting, and I love sharing it. So you know what time it is, guys. Trivia time! The shots where Luke uses his Jedi powers to get the lightsaber distance was actually used in reverse. How crazy. Next one, guys. In order to avoid sharing creative rights, George Lucas decided to avoid using a major studio to finance this movie. Instead, he bankrolled the $18 million production himself, using a combination between profits of Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, 1977, and a bank loan. Although the movie's risky, it paid off several times over. Lucas recovered his investments in 3 months in its release. He then showed gratitude by sharing the profits with his employees, nearly $5 million in bonuses. Next for him. Mark Hamill actually had to bang his head 16 times of Yoda's before Irvin Kershner was satisfied. Next one, guys. David Price was unaware that Luke was his father in this movie and was really upset with George Lucas afterwards. He said his physical acting would have been completely different. Next, when shooting on location in Vince, Norway, a fierce snowstorm hit the hotel where the cast and crew were staying. This would have normally halted filming, but director Irving Kershner said that the weather conditioner was an excellent opportunity where Luke wanders through the snow after escaping the wild cave. He did this by sending Mark Hamill out into the cold while him and the cameraman stayed and filmed inside the hotel's front hall. Next, George Lucas was so impressed with Frank Oz's performance as Yoda that he spent thousands of dollars on advertising commercials to promote Frank Oz for Best Actor role. Lucas' campaign ultimately failed because it was thought that a puppeteer wasn't an actor. Lucas felt that it wasn't fair to Oz, but who honestly didn't care. Next, with the exception of being sucked out of a Cloud City window, Mark Hamill did all of his own stunts. Next, Carrie Fisher stood on a box for many of the scenes with Harrison Ford in order to make up for the height difference and have her appear in the frame with him. Carrie Fisher, 5 feet 1 inches, was a foot shorter than Harrison Ford, 6 feet 1 inches. Next, when Han Solo is about to be frozen, Princess Leia says, "I love you." In the original script, Han Solo was supposed to say, just remember that, Leia, because I'll be back. But at the time of filming, Harrison Ford wasn't entirely certain that he wanted to come back for a third movie. There's actually a recurring legend that his line was actually different. However, the book was Once Upon a Time in a Galaxy was different to Empire Strikes Back. Next one. When Mark Hamill was having trouble with the dagger scenes with Yoda, Frank Oz brought in Miss Piggy to make him laugh. Next, one of George Lucas's goals in doing a Star Wars sequel was become completely financially independent from Hollywood, and he completely succeeded in his goal. Next, an oft-quoted myth is that the Rampa attack on Luke was to explain the actual scars on Mark Hamill's face because he had been in a really bad car accident and had to have reconstructive surgery. Hamill did indeed survive a serious car accident in January 1977, but didn't have any visible scars by the time the movie was filming over 2 years later. Oh my gosh, guys, that is a slew of trivia for you, but I literally genuinely could not help myself. Seriously, you guys are worth it, you deserve it, and I so value and appreciate your time for being here. I really do not at all in any way, shape or form take it for granted. Thank you for being here. For those of you who haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I value it so much. All my subscribers that have subscribed to my YouTube channel, you guys are incredible. Seriously, thank you with all that I am. Thank you. Please, guys, don't forget to leave a thumbs up on this movie review so I know that you're valuing and appreciating my content just as much as I love filming them and editing them and sharing them with you, because this is so much fun for me. I really genuinely authentically love it. Don't forget, guys, this is Superman Steve flying out. And also, yeah, you thought it was going to finish there. May the force be with you. Until my next review, don't forget to bring this movie review to you guys. This is Superman Steve flying out. You thought I was gone. Just tricking. Guys, stay tuned. Don't forget to click the bell for notifications. Don't forget to do that, because tomorrow I'll be dropping my newest movie review for Star Wars Episode 6. Return of the Jedi. Yes, that's coming tomorrow morning, probably around 6 a.m. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you then. Don't forget who's bringing this movie review to you guys. This is Superman Steve, guys, flying out.